Hi, everybody. This is Dave Emmons, and I'm just going to give a short, update for right now. And it's usually I do the Dave Emmons Show, and I do the Dave and Tom Show with Tom Althouse. But this past week, we have postponed those shows due to social media rules, and they put that out about current events and politics, and we're going to postpone those shows until after the election, and we're going to abide by the rules that they state in the social media platforms, because I don't want any more difficulties with the programming. And there's been some things, I guess, that they didn't like, but we're going to continue the shows, but we're going to abide by the rules. And this is just a temporary thing because of our political discussions and things of that nature till after the election. Uh, and then still, we're basically, I guess, authenticate and put out the sources that I usually have on my news, but sometimes that may not be enough. Those sources may not be liked by everybody. So, in order to keep peace with the social media rules and the community standards, we have postponed two shows. One show I postponed, I will be doing after the election. That's a UFO show with a guy that's his name's Spencer Who, and he's been an experiencer and also has other things to tell us. And that I'll bring that show about next week. Saturday night, I have a cryptid show with Christopher, and he's going to be on the show Sunday night, and I should have that show out. He's from the East Coast, and he does his own shows, and very much a professional in the cryptid research and investigations. We will have the Dave and Tom show resume probably in a week. Actually, Tom is taken sick for a little bit from the flu, and that's going around right now too. So that in itself is we're going to, like I said, abide by the rules and everything. I want to talk about a couple of things also as we're going here. Let me get my books out here. Of course, I want to push my books, and that's part of the advertising, and that's within the scope of, I guess, the rules. And it's they. What do they want? And I'm still selling that book on Amazon and Kindle, and that's my lifelong experiences with UFOs and ETs, and that's by Hanger One Publishing. Doug and Alex Hajicek, and they're great guys. And take a look at that book. And my second book is Senseless Wars and Conflicts, and this is my Vietnam memoirs. And also, I mentioned other combat conflicts that have went on during our time since World War II. That book is also out, and I'd like for everybody to take a look at that. I just have some interesting facts that I've been digging up through my research. I got a third book that I'm doing, Angels and Watchers and the Supernatural. That book will be done, hopefully. Well, I'll be done with it, but the publisher probably take about a month or so to get that done. So hopefully by the first of the year, that book will be published, and it has a lot of interesting facts. I want to go back to the first book, the UFO book. And I've had some incidents, I guess you'd call them paranormal incidents, that occur after the UFO abductions and things of this nature. And 2 years or so ago, I had a couple of visitors in my house, got them on infrared camera. That's a trail camera. I caught several images and a couple of videos. So I knew they were here because they also set off the alarms, the motion detector alarms. And usually shadow people can even do that. If you watch TV and you watch these shadow people setting off alarms with other sightings and other events that's happened. But one of the things I was brought to my attention about UFOs and ETs is chimerism. Anybody's ever heard of that? And it's an ET breeding program. And what it is, it's a DNA cells of two or more people in the same body. And that's probably why some of the attraction to some people happen. And they attract to certain people, and it could be that you have DNA in your body. And a lot of scientists say, well, 80% of our DNA is wasted. They don't know what it is. It's junk. Not really junk. It's actually recorded history through our past. And it's also, if you looked at a cell, human cell, it's amazing. They had a picture here out just here the other day. And that was amazing how colorful and how many little parts of that cell is what it's made up of. But this was brought to my attention by a friend, and if you study the history of it, chimerism is comes from the Greek word, and it's chimera, and it's a dragon, a beast, a lion, a goat, and a serpent. Could that have been the reptilian or the serpent in the Garden of Eden? It all started out with that, without a doubt. It probably is, and that's where the word comes from. But it also says that we can carry other DNA in our bodies, and our bodies, excuse me, allergies, but our bodies are contain a bunch of different DNA and cell types, so we can carry, I guess, another DNA, person, entity, or a memory that's stored in us. So that's an interesting fact I found. On the angel thing, the angels and watchers, they're all extraterrestrial by definition. An angel, a dimensional entity, a ghost or a spirit, or an ET. They're all extraterrestrial beings. Angels are considered extraterrestrial because they come from out of our realm, and they come in here, and time and distance is not a factor to them. It's supernatural, and that's what part of my book is about. It's supernatural, from all different kinds of critters to monsters in the Bible, and the Bigfoot, and all the way down to fairies. So also, I during the research of this third book, Angels and Watchers, I've come across a lot of parallels that spirits, ghosts, ETs, and angels, they you can't. It's hard to differentiate between all of them, because they're all coming from outside of our realm, and they're invisible. They can also shapeshift. They said that angels shapeshift into bodies, human bodies, in which can come down and touch base with us. They're on a mission to come into your life, and usually that's when you're in the most distressful part of your life, that sometimes an angel will come and visit you, and they will give you positive words, or just being there with the spiritual energy that they give you will uplift you and change your whole way of thinking and bring you up. There's some common signs that you've had visitors. I'll read these off real quick. They'll be in my book. Unexplained noises. We all hear that sometimes. Opening doors and cupboards. They usually call that poltergeist activity, but really it could be any of the spiritual activities, or even an angel. Light switching on and off. Some people have that. Right now, I'm going through what they call changing channels on the TV. Every morning, my channels on my TV go from 9:47 to 48 every all morning, about 7:30, and it wakes me up because I listen to this. I call it sleepy time music, soundscapes, a real easygoing music that helps my wife and I both sleep, and it relaxes us. But about 7:30 in the morning, around that time, the channels switch all by itself, and the technicians and the people who run the cable and the maintenance part of it. I've talked to 3 different ones, and they've even been here and they've checked it out, and they've checked out my Wi-Fi system, of course, and they said that they've never heard of that. And I called the main office, and their maintenance department said they never heard of that either. It doesn't. The channels don't switch like that from the remote. The remote's about 4 feet away from me, and so I don't accidentally touch it at all. I even reverse it, but it still changes the channel about the same time. So that is a spirit, or an angel, or even could be an ET. Take your guess. I don't know. I've been around ETs, wrote a book about ETs and UFOs, so it could be part of my problem there. Item of a loved one turns up, and you see it. Shadows and unexplained shadows in the corner of your eyes. These are shadow people. Could be any of the above. ETs, angels. I would hope to feel that all mine were spiritual, and a lot of angel visits, because I have felt spiritual feelings. I've never felt anything bad. But in these times right now that we're having inflation and all this other stuff that's going on around the world, uh, we we need something to believe in, and angels can help you believe in that, and they can make contact with you. Look at all the little signs. In my research, it says look at all the little signs that you can come up with, like hot and cold spots. That's visitation. Feeling of being touched. I've been touched on the shoulder and on the leg, and they say that could be an angel or a relative from the past that's coming to you and saying, everything's okay. I'm fine. Just just relax and live life. Unexplained smells. A lot of people smell flowers. I've done that too. I think a lot of people hear that. Cries, whispers, and voices. Sometimes we hear those, but we're afraid to admit them. Actually, levitating objects. I've never seen that, but some people have. Apparitions, seeing humans or ghost figures. That's another indication. Objects at your feet, like coins, feathers, and they're sent by loved ones. And I've had that happen to me at my brother's funeral. I had a little white feather right by my feet in the funeral hall, and it just come out of nowhere. And so I knew it was from him. He was my brother, my beloved brother. Animal sensitivity. We know all animals can sense things a lot more than we can. There's residual energy, and it's usually easily cleared with sage and other smudging rituals, incense and other crystals. I'm not so much a believer in that. I don't know if you can really get rid of those types of things. I think that has to come from your own spiritual energy, your own soul, and clearing yourself of that. If it's a bad entity, then yeah, you want to clear yourself of that quick. But otherwise, if it's spiritual or a family member you feel, then that should give you comfort. And like I said, nowadays we all need that comfort, and it doesn't matter what form it comes in, ghost, invisible, and they're all invisible. ETs, angels, ghost, dimensional entities, they're all invisible, and then they can take form when they get here to us if they want to show themselves. And they're coming from another realm. Space and time, like I said, doesn't matter to them. And even with ETs, they developed the technology to mimic the invisibility, the cloaking, and also the shape shifting. They've done that for many years. Even in the Garden of Eden, the reptilians, serpents shape shifted and passed on their genes through, I guess, human copulation with Eve. And then it went all the way to Noah 600 years later on the ark. Actually, his wife had a baby, a boy, and it had ET genes in it, half of it. And that's where we come up with this word. And it was interesting because of my studies into that part of it, chimerism, where you can have two different types of DNA properties in one body, and that could be two beings. And also, we're Verdog. Verdog is a Swedish name, Netherlands, for a double, body double, like a doppelganger. A Vordog is a little bit more, I guess, not as mean. A doppelganger, they say, can be mean. If you see yourself as a doppelganger, that's the day that you die. From what, and that's the old folklore. That's the mythology about that in Europe. But I've seen a double. Or I've had other. Not I haven't seen a double, but I've had people see doubles of me in my travels, and they got quite upset when I said no, that wasn't me. That's in my book. What do they want? So it's very possible that this DNA that you have in you could be a body double. And like they say, the old saying, you have a angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder telling you what to do in life, and you got to listen to the angel telling you the right thing. And please, everybody, do that. Do the right thing. Uh, don't get violent. Don't get involved in violent demonstrations. Don't get involved in letting yourself out there into the public and being this type of person that can be, I guess, going against the grain of all others. Let's just don't do that. Just think about solace and pray every day, and think about God, and think about these angels that might be visiting you. Open yourself up to it. Consciousness has a lot to do with it. Meditate, pray, And these things will come to you either in a dream, or they'll touch you, or they give you a sign. And that's the important thing, that you feel something from the other side. I might be doing another radio program before long. I'm working on that too. So keep in touch with me on the social media, and I will be around. I haven't been around this week, of course, and probably not until next week. I might produce a show for Sunday night with cryptids. So that show's coming up, and I will put a note about that advanced show. Then next week after the election, I will start having other shows, but I will be staying within the limits, as they say. And we know what those are all about. And I don't need to talk about any of that, don't need to talk about politics. Just vote, and vote by your heart. However you want to vote, it's best just to get out and vote and pray to God. And let's pray that this world gets better, and that we can head off any problems from other countries that are out to destroy us. Uh, we need to protect ourselves here in this country. We don't need to fight amongst ourselves. We don't need the haggling between all different divided people. We don't need that either. We need to be a strong America. See this flag in the background? I'm a combat veteran, and that's very important to me. And I think we can only get that if we're unified. And divided, we can't do it. So we need to get together in peace and love in this world. And I want to thank you, and look forward to talking to you some more on the other shows that I've got coming up. And goodbye for now. Thank you.